Just in case you guys did not know, I did do a game review for AEW Fight Forever. It's available on the channel right now. I will have it pinned in the comments sections for you guys to check it out whenever you want. But that's up 27 minutes. It's just me showing the menus, talking about the game, playing in the moment, discussing how I feel about AEW Fight Forever and what the game is to me. All right. At the end of the day, like I said in that video, take what I say with a grain of salt. Literally. Because it's just my opinion. All right. We don't always have to agree. And that's okay. The internet and people online would have you believe that we can't disagree. And if I don't think what you're thinking, or if I have my own point of view on something, then you're wrong or I'm wrong. No one's wrong. It's our own truth, okay? So stick to whatever your truth is. It's okay. I'm not here to convince you that AEW is better than what you think it is. Nor did I lie about how I feel about AEW. I bought AEW full price, all right? I didn't get a review copy. I didn't get it sent out to me. I didn't play it for free, all right? So I paid for AEW Fight Forever. And a lot of people constantly ask me, is it worth buying? Well, there's a couple things you got to ask yourself. Do you like AEW? Do you care for anyone on the roster? Do you like the old school games like No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000, WCW versus NWO, Def Jam? Do you enjoy the AKI engine, which is the foundation of the gameplay for this game? Those are the questions you got to ask yourself, because if you check off any of those, you're going to end up enjoying AEW Fight Forever. Now, in comparison to WWE, in comparison to some of the other titles that have dropped in recent years, it's a bare bones entry base game. And I get why people would call it such and be upset that the game doesn't have more to offer at launch. One of the biggest things to consider here is that the creators have already confirmed that this game will have long-term support, because they don't have a game plan to release AEW Fight Forever 2 next year. This is not a yearly title. So that changes the dynamic of how the game should launch and what it means for the game to get updated going forward. This game is going to evolve. Now, saying that the graphics of this game are PS2 or PS1, or I think that's childish. I think it's a disservice to the creative decision that they went with. All right? Because while it doesn't look like a real-life simulator and it looks like a video game and plays like a video game, that's what they were trying to achieve. That was the point of the game. That was the purpose of this creation. They didn't want to create just another simulator. They didn't want to create just another wrestling game that replicates what WWE has already done. WWE is obviously the leader in that department because they've been dominating for so long by themselves. They haven't had any competition. But now with AEW Fight Forever and this base edition of the game, you have something special going here. You have a game that has the foundation and heart of not just a nostalgic experience, but an experience that people have wanted for years. All right? And while there's only a couple buttons that you got to press, there's multiple purposes for them, and it makes the game a little more complex and meets the eye. And I said most of these things in my original review, but now we're doing it live with you guys, the chat. And I want you guys to understand this. Games like this usually don't get made because the publishers know that if it's not like a mainstream, over-the-top, overbearing experience, people are not going to want to spend money on it. Tony Khan himself got money from his pocket and wrote a check, right? Or gave it to AEW Games a new division within their own company so they can go ahead and start fabricating this game that we have now. Guys, AEW has only been around since like 2019. They just had their 4-year anniversary as a company. And in a little bit less than 4 years, they already started working on this game blindly, not knowing what would end up happening. And I'm not trying to give them any excuse. Yeah, there's not that many match types. There's not that many game modes. But why am I going to focus on the stuff that it doesn't have when the stuff that it does have satisfies me? Remember, this review is about what I think. At the end of the day, it's how I feel. And all I can ask from you guys, as a viewer, as a gamer, as a fan of wrestling, is that to be a little open-minded, to give it a shot, even if it's when the game drops price. People have like this huffing and puffing attitude. Oh, well, you know what? I'm not buying the game for $60. I'm gonna wait for it to go on sale. Yeah! I don't want to play this game. Hey, no one's telling you to play it. No one's holding a gun to your head and telling you, you have to buy the game. Wait for the sale. It's okay. Everyone online was just complaining and complaining and complaining about how WWE was bare bones and how WWE is just a rip-off and all this. Now the attention has turned from that to this, because they're just looking for something to complain about at this point. WWE is a phenomenal game. That doesn't mean that AEW Fight Forever can't be phenomenal in its own way. It's a different experience, and that's all I ever wanted from this game. That's why you see me talking about this game in such a manner. I've already put 15 hours on it, and to you that may not seem like a lot because you know people that probably put 20, 24, whatever since the game's been out. But for me, that's a lot for a game that just came out on Thursday, just a couple days ago. It's still Saturday. It's just now 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. So I've played the game a lot, man. And one thing that's been constant every single time is how much fun I've had. When the online has worked well, it's been exciting and just flat out fun. When I've played offline, yeah, the computer, more times than not, I whoop their ass. More times than not, I struggle very lightly. But that's the same case for WWE. I put WWE, well, the hardest difficulty in WWE is like a reversal fest. It's just about who can reverse more. So it's not that the game really gets much more difficult. It's just that it gets harder to reverse everything, and they reverse just about everything. It's fake. It's a game. I win most of my matches in WWE, though. And I win most of my matches in AEW, but it doesn't mean I don't ever lose. I do lose. And every so often when I lose, I just laugh, and I'm like, oh shit, I lost my match. But one thing that has remained consistent through and through is how much fun I'm having. And it's not just a nostalgic play on like, oh yeah, I'm not that kind of guy that gets suckered in just by nostalgia. I can't play a game if I think it's garbage just for the sake of nostalgia. I'm not lying to you. I have no reason to lie to you. So, at the end of the day, if you don't like the art style or the gameplay elements, then guess what? You just flat out don't like the game. Use community creations in WWE and create your own AEW Fight Forever experience. I know a lot of people are, because that's what they like. You got to ask yourself, what do you like? What do you want out of this? If you want to try something different, AEW Fight Forever is presenting that opportunity. And I don't want to just focus on, oh, updates is what's going to fix this game. Oh, updates is what's going to make this game better. What they have now at launch is enough for a while. Not forever, but for a while. Because when I get bored of playing AEW Fight Forever, I play another game. I play WWE. And if I get bored of WWE, I play any other game on my library. People act like, oh, I'm bored. Like, dude, get off the game and play something else. There's other options out there. But to bash the game and flat out say it's garbage to you. It's garbage to you. Now, one thing I did want to really focus on in this second review here is not just going off on what I've mentioned, because I think everything that I've mentioned has been justified in my opinion. But I've also wanted to focus on the AEW shop element and how they pretty much got us to, grind for the unlockables and the things that, add layers to the game, whether it be extra attires, equipment for the arena, things of that nature. At the end of the day, that feature is what's gonna save this game. That feature is what's gonna add longevity to this game, because that's the portal for them to add more things to for us to come back and unlock. So that AEW shop was an outstanding idea that they had, honestly. And I think that with that portal being an option for them, sky's the limit. I think sky is truly the limit with this game. But it starts with us supporting it. You can't bash a game you haven't played. If you consider yourself, let me tell you, if you consider yourself a fan of WWE, right? A fan of the simulation style, and you're not a fan of what AEW is presenting, then don't get it. Simple. You don't have to force yourself. But to say, oh, I saw videos of it, I know that this game sucks. No, you haven't played it. You know that you don't like the style and what the game has to offer? Fine. But to say that the game sucks, at the end of the day, you got to understand that this game was built for a specific audience with a specific intention, and that's what they're catering to. To be honest, I'm glad you said it's not going to be for everyone, because the review that speak positively of the game have usually either sweep the bad under the rug or just say you're just being nitpicky. No, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm always going to be honest. And yeah, the game is having issues on the PS4. It is crashing on PS4. I haven't experienced that. But I will acknowledge that the game does have its fair share of issues. It's not like everything that's in the game is, oh yeah, it's amazing. It's nostalgic. I love it. It's the best game ever. No, it's hardly ever the case that a game is perfect. I've been on here defending WWE 2K23 endlessly. 2K22 as well. And I feel like people got nitpicky with those games in certain areas where they really shouldn't have. But let me just showcase here what I wanted to talk about with you guys. I wanted to share the AEW shop. I wanted to pull it up. I was having issues pulling it up. But as you see right here, the shop with apparel, arena, moves, entrance items, and more items. These things are going to evolve through time, right? And the lack of modes are going to evolve through time. If you want to wait and you don't want to buy in, don't. That's a red flag already. I shouldn't have to convince you to get this game. To me, this game has enough because I play other games and because WWE is still an option out there. But at the end of the day, guys, for what I wanted, they gave it to me day one. That's the best way I could put it. That's the best way I can word it. And there's really not much else I can say other than it's okay if you don't like it. It's okay to wait for a sale. It's okay to be critical. but do it in a constructive way. Don't do it in a way where you're demoralizing the product because it's not what you expected. It's not what you wanted. That's being selfish at the end of the day, and it's not justified. I'm sorry, it just isn't. It's your truth, and that's it. But to say that the people that worked on this game didn't care, or that they don't care, that's a false narrative to spread. That's a disservice to the endless hours that these people put into this specific game. And I'm not talking about Madden. I'm not talking about the yearly sports titles. I'm not talking about those cash grabbing games. This game is not that. It's not. Kenny Omega from day one, and everyone that worked on this game from day one, said this game is going to be arcadey. It's not going to be what you guys are used to lately. We're going to pay respect and homage to some of the older titles. We're going to take inspiration from other games. And we're looking to add as time goes on. But it starts with us supporting the product. You can't expect a better game if we don't support the product, whether it be at launch or on sale. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I just kind of wanted to go over some of the things that I did touch base on my game review. If you guys want even more on what I talked about, I have that video up. Again, it's 27 minutes long. I showed the gameplay. I talked about the ugly stuff that the game has. I have had issues with matches online. The game's not perfect. I still only gave it a 7 out of 10, despite speaking more positive than negative about it. All right. So while I am excited for the future of AEW for Fight Forever, and I am excited with what I got as the base game, I still didn't give it a 10 out of 10 or an 8 or a 9 or a 7 point. I gave it a 7 because I see the vision and I'm enjoying what they gave me for the time being. Will this review change? We'll circle back a year from now. All right. It's July 1st. We'll come back July 2024, and let's see how far the game has come along by then. Maybe my rating goes down because they lied to us. Maybe the updates weren't enough, and maybe the game got boring after a month. All I can say is that up until this point, I've played a game that I've enjoyed enough to come back to and to even want to purchase on my Nintendo Switch at some point in time. All right. So I hope this honest interpretation of AEW Fight Forever helps you guys in your journey, whether you already have the game or you're thinking about getting the game or you're just looking around town to see what people have to say about the game. It's worth a shot only if you're going to be open enough to what this game has to offer and what it's ultimately about. All right. So I'll see y'all real soon with more AEW content. The stream's not ending, but this segment is. Thanks for watching. Let's go.